First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming to our Senior Voices Forum, which is run in conjunction with the Ridgefield Library and Commission on Aging. My name is Patty Yaffa. I'm the Vice Chair of the Commission on Aging. And in the back, we have Joe Ternurlo, our Chair for the Commission on Aging. And he's pretending not to hear us, but Tony Phillips is with our Social Services Department. We have Carmen Martin, a Commissioner on the Commission on Aging, Clem, how do I pronounce your last name? Sotheby, who's also a commissioner, and we have Lisa Ternurlo, who is our volunteer commissioner and responsible for our really beautiful flyers that helps to get the word out to everybody, in addition to our press releases. So that being said, the reason you're here today is because we think it's very important for you to understand what your choices are in real estate for downsizing, upsizing, whatever the type of sizing you have a need for. And we want to make sure you understand a lot of the specifics about it. So this is going to be an interactive forum. There is no PowerPoint, but we have lots of terrific points to discuss. We have a panel, and I'm going to let our real estate agents introduce themselves individually. Briefly, they are Colette. Pronounce your last name right way. Kabasakalian, and we have Cal Lampert and Paul Gervais, all realtors with our very own local William Pitt Sotheby's International Realty. And they're going to speak. They each have subtopics to talk about. They're going to introduce those topics, and you'll be able to ask questions as we go along. And then we'll go over the rest of the itinerary following this. And please help yourself to any snacks and water, because it's nice to have that. Okay, thank you so much. Colette, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. I'm Colette Kabasakalian, as I was just introduced. And I thank you all for being here on such a beautiful day when you could be out there sunbathing. I wish I were, but you know what? I'll do that right after this. I'm here to discuss what I'm seeing with my own clients right now. I have several seniors and where they're going, why they're going, who they're going with, and other things about what we have in stock as housing here in town. Some of my clients, they're resizing their lives. I think you were reading my notes. They're resizing. They're not necessarily downsizing. Sometimes they're going to be closer to family or going to a warmer environment, and they want their family to be able to move in with them or at least come and visit and have plenty of room. So we have housing stock in town. We also are seeing a lot of people moving closer to their family. And at least my clientele is moving closer to their family. They're getting older in age. They want to make sure that they are, have family close by to help them if they need any help. So that's what I'm seeing. A lot of people are saying we need to go somewhere where the taxes are lower because they're getting taxed too high on their Social Security or their retirement funds, and they are looking for that kind of thing. I mean, a piece of chicken today, everyone knows how expensive it is. So there's a lot of reasons for people to downsize. Maybe they just want to get rid of their property and rent and not buy another property. That's another situation where you could find yourself wanting to stay in town, wanting to be where your doctors are, wanting to stay with your synagogues, churches, and every other organization that you belong to. So there's a lot of reasons to stay in town, and we really want to see if we can get you to stay in town. So there are only 3 right now, 55 and over communities that we have that have units available, and they're very few. They come and go so quickly. We have the least expensive one right now is Coach Homes. It's an adult community. It was built in 2020. It has trails going over to Founders Hall, and there was only one sale last year for a 1-bedroom and a den with 2 bathrooms, and it was $505,000 it sold for. And that is the lowest priced one, except for in 2022, there was one affordable unit that sold for $274,000. That was an 830G. It was built in order to have 30% affordable homes in her. So people are just not moving out of them. That's unfortunate. I have one that is going to close on Friday of this week. I can't say how much, but it's a lot more north of the 505 that we just discussed. That is one unit, that's all we have there. There's another development that is Sunset Lane. Now, Sunset Lane is probably the most expensive one that we have. And I don't believe there's been anything. There's about 5 sales in the last 2 years. And those sales were between $715,000 and 1.27 million. Those do not come on the market. They sell privately, but that's another opportunity that you could start reaching out if that's where you want to be. Sunset Lane is very walkable to town. So is Coach Homes. There's the last unit development that I know of is down on Route 7. And they have 74 units. Hold on.
What's the name of that?
The Regency. The Regency, it's near the assisted living. 74 units, of which there's not many sales there either, but they were selling between 815 and 925 in the last couple of years. I wish there were more. I recently had the ability to be on a town hall conversation with our state rep, Cece Moore. And I asked her about the bills this year, how there aren't any that are geared towards our senior community. And I wanted to discuss that with her because my mother was able to get into a golden age opportunity situation in her town. And I'd like to see our housing authority here be able to work with the housing authority at the state level in doing something like that, where our seniors have the first right of refusal on any of those affordable homes that come up. Nothing like that really exists. We do have a couple of, we have congregate, I don't know if that's all senior or it's mixed with other, yeah. But there's nothing that says Ridgefield residents who have lived here and paid their taxes into our town for so many years. None of the bills that they came up with this year for affordable housing actually is geared towards you. And I'd like to see that happen in the future. I really want to discuss it. And she was really open to discussing it with me, and I look forward to speaking with her about it. So with that, I'm going to pass this on to Cal.
Unless somebody has questions regarding what class.
Those are 55 and over. Yeah, they have the ability, some of them have elevators, like the one by Danbury Road, 233 Danbury Road. That has an elevator system and they have garage underneath.
Sunset does as well.
Sunset does as well. But I don't think they have garages in the Regency that are connected. They're more like townhomes at the Regency with a first floor bedroom.
They aren't offering the program.
It's just the way the houses are deeded. Yeah, they're deeded to be 55 and over. There's certain restrictions on who can live in some of them. For example, 18 and under is not allowed to live at the ones on 233 Danbury Road due to the fact they didn't want to have school buses and have children in school. So you can have your grandchildren visit all summer long, but they can't live there for more than 3 months. Any other questions?
Okay, Cal,
Thank you.
you're up. Thank you, Colette. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Colette. I don't know. Can you hear me? I'm good. I wanted to speak with you this afternoon. Generally speaking, not so much about real estate, but one of the portions of my little speech, if you will, deals with real estate. So if you don't mind, indulge me while I pontificate, if you could. My topic was right sizing for retirement, and it basically means adjusting your current living arrangements, your expenses, and for some of you, your activities. Most importantly, your financial resources health and personal preferences. You may need to consider downsizing in a smaller home to a smaller home, or reducing your expenses and focusing on activities that bring fulfillment without straining your finances. There are many items to consider when you're right sizing. Healthcare and the costs, including insurance premiums, co-pays, and out-of-pocket expenses. Social connections. You all want to keep our social connections. Nobody really wants to move out of town if they don't have to. Downsizing may cause you to do that, but that's not probably what the plan is initially. And tax implications. Discovering the tax implications of your retirement decisions, including any changes in your income, property taxes, and potential tax breaks. Your hobbies and interests. This could include hobbies, travel, volunteering, or pursuing lifelong passions. Lastly, long-term care. This can be extraordinarily costly. Assess your potential need for long-term care and include provisions for it in your retirement plan. Hopefully, if you don't have one, you're working on one. Should you consider long-term care? You need to talk to a professional about that. I cannot express more to you than to have a team of experts who specialize in different aspects of your retirement planning. And they are as follows. And again, I'm sure most of you need a financial advisor. If you don't have one right now, you need to find one. They can assess your financial situation, develop a retirement plan, and make informed investment decisions to ensure your financial security. An estate planning attorney. Estate planning attorney can help you create or update your wills. A lot of people all of our ages over 60 or 65 have not taken into consideration they need a will, because you know what's going to happen if you don't have one. And I know you won't be around, but it's going to happen. You need to navigate the complex issues related to estate planning and inheritance. I would think that you would want to complete any legal documents needed prior to your exiting the library. You don't want to have a situation, I don't think you want to have a situation where there's people screaming and carrying on. You need a healthcare advisor. That means someone who can provide guidance on healthcare options, long-term care planning, and Medicare enrollment. You need us. You need a real estate agent, because we can come in and help you analyze what your situation is, where you're going, what you want to do, and what you want to have happen, whether you want to stay in place, whether you want to downsize. All too many people, these two people would probably confirm what I'm saying. I want to stay in my house. I got a 3-floor home, and I'm going to stay here until you realize that your knees aren't working so well and you can't get up and down the stairs, and the primary bedroom is on the 3rd floor. And it's going to sound silly, but it's important. You need a professional counselor. And I'm talking about a therapist, because a lot of us have issues that we have problems dealing with. And you need to have someone that you can confide to, especially if you're single. My best question for you, now that you've embarked on this road to discover the next years of your life, would you consider volunteering, teaching, part-time work, finding another career? You might want to consider, and this is real important, I just found out about this, consider talking to an elder care doctor or geriatrician. I don't know if anybody has done that yet. Hands? No? Yes? They can be very beneficial to you as you approach retirement. This is over and above your internist or cardiologist. They can help you navigate what's going to happen next. If you're 70 or 75, what can I expect is what's going to go first? My knees, my elbow, or whatever. You may have chronic health conditions that require ongoing management. You're experiencing changing in your physical or cognitive abilities. You're concerned about age-related health issues such as arthritis, dementia, or osteoporosis. You want to discuss preventive measures to maintain your health and independence as you age. You're planning for long-term care and need guidance on options and resources available to you. As you approach your 70s, 80s, and older and decide to age in place, there are 3 important things that you need to consider. Home modification, evaluate how you're living, the safety in your house. Do you have adequate lighting? Do you have support when you going to take a bath? Your social support. Don't lose your friends because you can't get out of the house for whatever reason. Try to stay in touch, and then analyze your daily living assistance. And if you need care, don't be embarrassed to pick up the telephone. Family can certainly play a crucial role in navigating your elder years, but it's essential to consider the dynamics of your family relationships and the specific needs and preferences of everyone involved. While some people may prefer to rely primarily on family members for decision-making and support, others may choose to involve a combination of family, friends, and professional advisors. Here are some considerations when deciding who to depend on. Your family dynamics. I've said it previously, and I can't say it enough. Your professional advisors and your personal preferences. And you need to have open communications. Regardless of who you choose to involve in your decision-making, open and honest communication is essential. Clearly communicate your wishes, preferences, and expectations to your loved ones and any professional you're working with. Ultimately, the most important thing is to have a support network in place that you trust and feel comfortable relying on as you navigate your elder years, whether that includes family, friends, professional advisors, or a combination of all 3, depends on your individual circumstances. You got questions? I'll be more than glad to answer them for you. I will share a humorous story. I have a very close friend whose dad is now 102 and living in a facility and doing very well. But when he was 92, there's 4 kids. And they were afraid that he was driving. And they were very concerned that he would not only hurt himself, but maybe hurt somebody else. So New York State has a program that you can contact them and tell them the situation and exactly what they did. And New York State said, we know how to do this. So they sent them a letter and they said, you haven't had an eye test in 2 years. You need to come in for your eye test. So he went for his eye test, and needless to say, you can all figure out what happened. And he came back to the 4 kids screaming, using words that I've never heard of, and carrying on because the state of New York took his keys away. And the 4 kids said, oh my God, I can't believe it. So think about that. It's coming. I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. But you might, there's a what? I'm sorry?
Yes.
So that's,
What is being said in the audience that everyone on Zoom has said before, they cannot.
They can't hear. Okay, next person that comes up. Maybe you want to repeat that. The young lady was talking about the ability to go to some facility to make sure that your driving abilities are current and you can in fact drive. And the answer is
It requires a doctor's referral, but it tests a number of things, not just cognitive ability, probably tests your eyesight as well. But it's a written test as well as a physical in-person test for the driving.
And you're correct.
I would love to, if you could, I don't know who's got that information, but if you've got that information, if you can get it to Patty,
Yeah, I can.
that would be great.
Okay, I have, yeah.
There are three places, I'm the geriatric manager, so I.
Oh.
You're a geriatric. I'm glad that's why I mentioned geriatrics. Sure.
Move on, down by the green on Danbury Road, also has a geriatric care management. They will do. Can you repeat that? Levon?
So Nuvans.
Oh, Newbon. See, I can't hear.
By Wilton Meadow,
Mhm.
down on Danbury Road. They have a
Yeah.
geriatric care management. And they do assess.
Okay, thank you for that. That's critical.
Norwalk Hospital? Okay.
And you know what? Some people have problems just, they're embarrassed to ask or they don't want to talk about it. Please, we're all at an age where you need to talk about it. You need to make your family, your children, hopefully everybody's got good relations with everyone. You need to make them aware of how are you feeling. If you know that you're hurting one day, my gosh, it's your responsibility to tell everybody how you feel. And to the young lady who's talking about elder care doctors, this is someone, you may want to expand on it for me. This is a doctor who doesn't take over for any of your other physicians, who is there to help you and guide you as you become 70, 75, 76 and older. And you slip.
They're there to really make recommendations on what you should look for and anyone having any kind of cognitive change or not even, they just will help you make recommendations on your living situation, resources. It's a really good tool.
How do we
And
find?
they
people like
have
No, I'm seriously.
Well, there are a couple of ways. I mean, I happen to work at RDNA Health here in Ridgefield. So,
Okay.
it's a new program that we're building out to bariatric care management. So I'm one of many, but there are people like myself and health Asian Life Association, geriatric care management. If you Google that, they'll have a list of certified geriatric care managers.
and won't they provide if you need social services? Referrals to right. Yeah, and the other kind of a sensitive situation, so you'll excuse me. I mentioned in my little talk of talking to a counselor. I don't know how many in here, and I really don't care, and I'm not asking for show of hands, but talking to some kind of a therapist about how you feel about aging. We all don't want to get to be 100, or maybe we want to get to 100 and not have anyone around us. But you need to have an outlet of talking to someone that you may not be able to speak with your child about. You may not be comfortable talking with them or a friend. Find an outlet somewhere. And most importantly, if you're active and you can stand up 2 days a week. You can go somewhere, the library somewhere, and volunteer to do something. Keep active. I can't impress. I've seen it in my family. I've had a loved one retire at age 59. Financially wonderful. Didn't make any difference.
Cal, thank you very, very much
Thank
for
you.
that. And what I'd like to do, every question is important. I would like us to hear from Paul, and then if we can circle back, unless you have a very specific question for Cal.
Well, let's say about the transportation. Many
Oh.
areas are alone.
Ma'am, I'm going to respectfully interrupt you, and I'm going to write a note, and I'd like you to speak when we have our open-ended questions in a few minutes, if that's okay with you. And Paul, you
Sure.
have the microphone.
There you go.
Thank you.
I'm Paul Gervais, and I'll be speaking to you about accessory dwelling units. And essentially what that all means is taking an existing home and adding on to it, so that it's almost like an in-law apartment, for lack of better terms. And it affords people to live with family or live with someone, but still have that independence. I had a situation where my wife grew up here in Ridgefield, and when we purchased a home, we had the luck of buying a home that was literally in my in-laws' backyard. And my father-in-law, after retiring, passed away at 63. And so my mother-in-law was still very active and engaged. And we obviously were very close by. So we were able to keep an eye on things, and she likewise for us. But as time went on, she had a lot more health issues. And we had decided that we were going to remodel our home. And we asked her, sell your house, move in with us. We'll retrofit it. We were working with an architect and everything. Did not want to have anything to do with that. She, again, was very independent, still drove, did everything she wanted to do. And long story short, years moved on, and my wife was getting more involved with the healthcare aspects of her life. And so we sold our home and we moved in with my mother-in-law. And luckily, my brother-in-law is an architect. So we sat down and we drew out an expansion to the house. So we assumed the ownership of the property. My mother-in-law was still on the deed, but we assumed ownership of the main residence and then remodeled that, but then she added on to it. And there are guidelines. The town does allow that to happen. Depending on the size of your property, you are allowed one accessory dwelling on your property. If you're on a half an acre, they do require that you have it attached to the primary residence. If you have a lot more property, then within reason, you can actually build an accessory home on the property. The home itself can only be 900 square feet, 1 bedroom. And the primary owner of the property has to live on the property. So in the case of myself and my mother-in-law and my wife were both on the deed, which also helped when she passed away because it automatically moved on to my wife. But it afforded her the continued independence. The way it was built is she wasn't doing well with stairs. So the dwelling that we constructed was literally taking the office that my father-in-law once used, and now that became the bedroom, and then we blasted out towards the back. So my mother-in-law, if you saw her space, you'd be like, I want to live here. She had full kitchen. She had a living space with a fireplace. She had a beautiful bathroom that was designed for her needs, where she could just walk and shower. So everything the water would just going into the center of the room. The bars that she needed, she had her own independent entrance from the outside. So if she left and she didn't tell us, we had no idea she was gone, which again maintained some independence for her because she didn't have to walk through our dwelling in order for her to go out and do her thing. She could leave. She had her own garage, and then she had access to the deck, which we had the same. So it was wonderful in that she had her space and she would eat with us, but when she wanted to be alone, it was simply closing a door and she was on her own. Over time, I put in some cameras outside her door because it just so happens that my daughter was home and she had gone clothes shopping and she wanted to show Nana her new clothes. And she went into her space and she's like, "Where's Nana? Where'd she go?" And we hadn't seen the car leave. So I was like, well, this is unusual. So she went outside and there was my mother-in-law on the ground in front of the garage. So at that point, we're like, oh, we need to kind of keep it on. And that's the whole thing. I mean, she knew she had mobility issues and stuff, and we're all very proud. So, she had the cane and she used it when she wanted to. At the end, she did, and she had a walker and everything. But it's that whole, to Cal's point, the independence of it, that she had her own space, but she didn't want to be spied on, for lack of better terms. You put cameras up and it's for their safety, but at the end of the day, it's very intrusive. It's just like, at any point in time, my son-in-law, my daughter can just like watch me. So we never my wife did put one in her space and it never worked, and it kind of worked out well from that standpoint. But from the outside standpoint, I had one directly at her door. So and to this day, if the door opens or even a bird flies by, it gives me a signal that there's something going on at her door, so I could automatically look and see what was going on. But it's a wonderful idea to consider if you have family that's living close by and they're into the idea of you moving in with them. Many homes here in Ridgefield, and I want to say 99% of the homes in Ridgefield, don't have master bedrooms on the first floor. We're a colonial nature, so we all sleep upstairs, and the main living area is your main space. So that actually affords it, and the stipulations that the town has, and you can find this online, it gives you all of the specifics in terms of it has to be a single floor dwelling. The dwelling itself has to marry well with the current residents. You can build something contemporary next to a colonial. Also, you have to have an architect obviously draw the plans. The town will actually review the size of your property and the size of the current home and what it currently has structurally, number of bedrooms, etc. And then we'll make the determination as to how to easily attach it to the dwelling. Because a home may already have a septic in place, if you don't have the luxury of being on city water and sewer, you will have to possibly enhance your septic, because if you have a 4-bedroom septic already, you're going to have to increase it to 5. When we did it, we had to do that very thing, is we put in a whole new septic system to account for the new bedroom that was being added on. But it's really worth looking at. I mean, obviously, from a financial standpoint, it's not inexpensive. While my mother-in-law had a luxury suite, for lack of better terms, that's not necessarily what you all have to do. You can, make the kitchen be a galley kitchen. You can, because it says 900 square feet, you don't have to make it 900 square feet. You can tailor it to meet your requirements. but it's an alternative. And this is something that you can consider. God forbid you are, put in a position where you have to move out of state or out of town. I'm sure other towns and states do afford that same option, where you're not left alone. And that's the key thing here, is just as we get older, having somebody accessible to us. So.
Lady in pink. Lady in pink. Has a question for you?
Oh, I'm
Clint.
sorry. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Actually, that's a very good question.
Well,
So,
repeat the question, so Zoom.
yeah,
Thank you.
there was a question about when we modified our home, if our taxes increased. And of course, because of the square footage of the home, it did. And the second part was, did we get any assistance? And we did, because my mother-in-law was still viewed as the owner and the name on the deed, while having my daughter, my wife's name being added on to the deed, she was eligible. And the town really keeps track of this, because my mother-in-law unfortunately passed away in January. And we already got a letter in the mail saying, oh, by the way, she is no longer on the deed. So henceforth, your taxes are not going to be adjusted. Here's your new bill. So, but yes, and that's good to put out there, that keep that individual as a primary, because again, they are afforded the tax options that are given to seniors, where I'm not at that point quite yet, where we would have been able to get it. It would have just been an accessory dwelling.
I've got a question. I'm on the panel.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Say it
I
loudly.
watch too much HGTV.
Yeah.
So there are tiny homes.
Yeah.
And I know that yours was attached. If you wanted to do that in,
You can, so long as again, you're limited to residential properties. And if you are a non-conforming property, but you have been granted the ability to do so because you were grandfathered, you can still do something like that. But if it is half an acre, the dwelling has to be attached directly to the premises.
so that's the,
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're on a little over an acre, and I think it would look very odd to me having
Sure.
a unit just floating in the nowhere lands. But if you have more property, you could have,
You
5
can do
acre,
that.
but you could put,
okay.
they would allow. And the town, obviously. So there is an application, so you fill out your application. The town does get involved. Obviously, you want to make sure that it's permitted to do what you're doing. But they do want to see the existing layout of your home, what you're planning on doing, and then the inland water group, the wetlands, they come in and make sure that you're not getting near wetlands, if there are any near your property, etc. Health department for your septic and well and all that fun stuff. But it is an option. It's worked extremely well in our situation, and she passed away at home, and she was happy.
Thank you. Does anyone else have questions for Paul, Cal, or Colette before?
Oh, Colette wanted me to, and this is not on here, so the town obviously has not updated. She indicated that you can have 1,200 square feet with 2 bedrooms.
Not none.
That was just
That was recently updated.
updated with the town, that it could be 2 bedrooms, so you could have a live-in, caregiver, thank you, to help out. So,
Good
That's
idea.
good.
yes,
Yeah.
That's,
Good idea.
it depends on the size of your home though. So it does go by square footage.
Lady over there?
What is that availability of housing, not just relegated for 55 and older, but in town right now?
Availability of houses specifically.
Yeah.
The amount of houses in town that we've had on the market for the last 2 years equates to about 20 for the entire town in every price point. And they go on the market and come off the market as quickly as they go on the market. And there are still bidding wars. We still have a lot of people who want to get into our town. And there's nothing super affordable anymore. I don't know what affordability is. But the condo developments that we have that are in the 70s, built in the 1970s, they are now in the 300s.
Yeah, Casagmo
They're
was
going
selling in the
up.
300s.
Yeah, so we do need to get more housing stock, and how we go about it. It's going to take some time, but the people who want to sell can't sell because they don't know where to go. That is a big problem. It's like a catch-22. I want to downsize my life. I want to cash in and maybe not have all these bills anymore. And even the rentals have gone through the roof. The rentals properties, I'm still looking for one for someone who's closing on their home in like 3 weeks for a single floor dwelling, and it's hard. It's really hard. They're gonna have to move into Bethel or wherever they found a place. So I'm still looking and I'm hoping to get it for them. Anyone know of one? Let me know.
My unit is not available.
You'd have
And
to go
actually,
longer.
that's a very, and yeah, John is our manager, the Joker. Very important to note that we had to indicate that this was an in-law apartment. And there was a neighbor of ours who had done it years ago. Same situation, dad moved on a second floor. But long story short, it is an accessory dwelling. I cannot, per the town, just arbitrarily turn around and rent it through a realtor. If I wanted to do it and my neighbors are comfortable with it, and like I said, we have a neighbor, they've been renting that unit for years. The people are lovely. We've never had any issues, but it is an accessory dwelling and it is part of our home. It just can't arbitrarily just be put on the MLS. This is not a multifamily. This is an accessory dwelling. So that's important to note. So you can live with me. I'll charge you, but we won't tell the realtors about it. My neighborhood's lovely, by the way.
Tony, you have a question?
There is no age restrict. It's odd. Exactly. Like if I wanted to, under the covers, do it, no age restriction whatsoever. But it's one of those things where if the town heard about it or the neighbors complained about, the person that you had having raucous parties, then all bets are off. Yeah, it's very clearly stated in there. And I was just like, well, that's odd, but yeah.
So if, thanks, Paul.
So Patty can't move in because she's a little bit too raucous in her
Yeah,
days.
But his wife knows me and likes me, so. I
Yeah,
think I
so
can
there's
work
a
something.
possibility. I'll be moving in the
Sure,
accessory. Yeah,
we'll swap.
exactly.
Okay, so before I go to the last segment, which is just as important as all the other segments, I want to go into what we love to call what's on your mind. And I'd like to start with the lady in pink who mentioned a question about transportation. And let's see what else you all can learn from being now attendees instead of panelists. So thank you. Yeah, would you like to speak into the microphone?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll read. Okay.
Well, I talked about the people who don't can drive anymore because they don't want the people drive. Sometimes people live alone, especially seniors, and they depend on the car to go to the farm to the super or whatever. Oh, I see a small car or drive with the van something. They need to advertise more that way people, especially seniors, they need it's a small van and they can get out where they need to go. Because not everybody know about this step.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, what was pardon me, what was the last part of what you said?
The people more advertising for the seniors.
Mm-hmm.
It's a van or a small bus to come and they can call the phone or whatever it is. We also the service to ask for bring to the pharmacy or supermarket or where they need to go, the doctor's appointment.
Okay, thank
Many
you.
people
Yeah.
alone, they don't have relatives here, how they do? They need the pen or the car.
No, you're right, and that's an area that's very, very important to us, and that the Commission on Aging has been working on, and Joe.
She said, summarize what she said.
She wants to advertise to the seniors about rides that they can have going to pharmacies and doctors. I think we also have
Seniors.
rides for Ridgefield
The
and the
hard
Heart
bus.
Bus. Oh,
Yeah.
the Heart
The
Bus.
Heart- Yeah.
But I think, I think that the gist of what you were saying is, it's not, while it does exist, it's not advertised enough.
People don't know
So
about
people are not aware that that is an option to them. So they're, yeah.
So I hear that.
Mhm.
This was mailed to every senior citizen in the town. Which has, actually, anyone 55 or older.
Yeah.
And it has
You don't
all
think
of that information listed on pages 3 and 4. So I
Be like
hear
this.
that.
Flight attendant.
We tried to get the
you
word
want to be a
out.
flight attendant?
Mhm. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Anybody else have any questions? Again, we're
She's got
going
another-
over what's
got
on your
another one.
line. Okay,
The Ridgefield Housing Authority, for them, for farmers. And every year, or every time, they start different real estate administration or corporations from Hartford, and now we have one is from Cranford. So far, they have two real estate business running the retail housing. The one is Connecticut Housing Partners from Hartford, and real estate market from Cranford.
right.
We had in 51 cluster rooms, a lot of repairs in the building, in the apartments, in the driveways, in the gardens. And one room to hire somebody from out of town to do the business from the Ridgefield Housing Authority. I think there are many people in town who are interested in the town. And I hope we can recommend people from Ridgefield run the business of the Ridgefield Housing and the business employees from another town that I have different idea. And every time they raise $1,200, at least for me, in operating the state. And it's not $1,200 for everybody, because some people pay less, $50 or $30. When you have the benefits from the cleaning the snow, for the grass, pick it up the garbage, why some people need to pay $1,200 more for operating the state? And the economic situation is bad in the country, and it's affecting everyone. Try to don't increase the rent to the tenants. No te matter the housing or in Qatar or wherever, because it's affecting everyone. We had a bad situation and try to tell each another to not increase the rent, because many people they don't care. Housing has different people in Congregado and another apartment care to report because they want to ask them. Where these people go? They had only some people, only the pension or the social security. Where these people go? If they so more people will be more prominent, not only in Richard, it's in the whole country, bad situation. Try to tell us that somebody who lives in Richard work for the Richard Housing Authority and work with the team there.
Thank you. Thank you for that very much. And Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, that's something that we might be able to take up separately with Wade. With talking about Ridgefield Housing Authority and having companies that are out of town, not Ridgefield people, address the needs of, say, congregate housing, maintenance, things of that sort.
I think, after during networking, I'll talk to you. I want to put something out in here, tell you what we're doing regarding transportation, and I'll understand your issue, the second issue as well. Okay?
Thank you both. Okay, before we speak with you, I think you had a question, sir, in the front row.
Kind of do, I don't know what I should be doing. You painted a pretty bleak picture of seniors, suitable housing for seniors here in town. And many of us have lived in Ridgefield for many, many years and really love it. But if we need suitable housing for, as we age, which means, not a colonial. It doesn't have to be 55 plus, but you know, bedroom on a bottom level and all that stuff.
Access.
It obviously is almost not gonna happen. We can almost be certain it's not gonna happen here.
And sir, if I may repeat or summarize, you're talking about accessible housing. I just want to try and capture. Thank you.
The other question, the other part of that
Okay.
question is, what about surrounding community? Close enough to Ridgefield so that your life can still impart in Ridgefield.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Very good questions. The housing is low everywhere. Unfortunately, I don't have great stories for you. However, Rivington is very close to Ridgefield. You can spread the word. I know somebody who, Rivington,
In Danbury?
it's in Danbury. It's right at the top of Ridgefield.
It's where the old Union, I'm sorry, where Union Carbide used to be.
Correct. You can put the word out to people and say you're looking for this.
And that is selective units. Because some of them are townhouses
Right.
where again, the bedrooms are upstairs and there's a lot of stairs on there. So there are certain buildings that do afford a more, for lack of better terms, apartment-like living. For example, Sunset, the back buildings are very much apartment, condo. It's all single floor living and you have the elevators, etc. But Rivington, depending on where you go and what unit you would consider, you may be still doing flights of stairs, which defeats the point at that point.
There's the Summit also in Bethel that is starting to be built. You can go check that out. Beautiful
So can I
apartments that could be, I believe, rentals too.
add something? Since we're talking about Rivington, there are 12 buildings that are low rise, if you will. So it's all, and
Because
it's,
you live in.
because I live in one of them. And it's there's 20 units in each building, and it's literally one floor living. Additionally, and we just found out that they're going to build, and I can't tell you all the details because I really don't know, a huge complex close to the Union Carbide, or what was the Union Carbide building for over 55 people. So you're probably looking at least 2-3 years away. So and that's a Toll Brothers property. So that company is very much aware of what's happening in an aging population.
Yeah. Gonna be part of it.
Yeah, it'll be part of it. It will be part of Rivington, and they're gonna have their, from what I understand, their own facilities and pools, etc. Yeah, and it's supposed to be fairly big, and of course, they're gonna address that.
There's also rental apartments. There's also rental apartments that are near Rivington, Crown Point, Abbey Woods. Those are buildings with elevators. They're all one floor living, but those are all rentals. So you have a lot of choices. It's not, I'm not trying to be too bleak, but you do have some choices. You could go and look at them, see if that's
Yeah.
what you want to do in life.
I mean, I
A little
think,
bit of homework.
yeah, I think what we're experiencing right now is that it's not that the properties don't exist per se. It's just that because of the current inventory situation, we're caught between a rock and a hard place. when you have, I think today it was like 35 single family and condos on the market in Ridgefield. That's nothing when there's 20,000 of us. So, and then the same thing happens in Danbury. Your area doesn't have the inventory. And then the sad thing is you have the rentals, the same thing. So people have sold, they've gone into rentals, and it's a catch-22. I'm in a rental. Where am I going to go? I'm going to stay. So they renew their lease, and then the rentals don't exist. I do some rentals which would not be suitable for even myself because of the stairs. But every year I used to do multiples in this place. I have done one with them in the past year. And the reason being is that people are staying put. It's just like, I like it here. It's working for me. Where am I going to go? I'm here. That's it. So
Thank you,
It's-
Paul. You had another go, please. Pardon me.
On the summit, you said they're building,
Yes.
when is that to be making?
I wish I could answer that question. I got a crazy letter. In fact, the whole community got a crazy letter because Toll Brothers wants to come in and they're gonna blast.
yeah.
So they sent out a letter we received last night. They want to go into each unit and photo the unit because if they're blasting, there might be damage. And when you're making a claim, they want to be able, yeah. So
That's Rivington.
that's Rivington, yes.
Okay. At the summit, though, in Bethel,
I'm
I
sorry.
think that was your question,
Was-
right?
I'm
Okay,
sorry, I
That's
apologize.
okay. They're ready now. They're getting ready right now. My client has to wait till, I think, July, they're gonna be completed. Their problem right now is the supply chain. They can't get the electrical boxes for each unit, and they're having a hard time getting that completed. So they're actually, one of my clients is moving into the model. They're letting them do that until their apartment is available. So go up there, they're going fast.
Thank you. Our panelists will be available for networking, and please don't leave yet because I've got several announcements, which, can I have that, Director, too? Thanks, which I think everyone will find beneficial and important. So at the back of the room, we have a sheet. It says Inside Town Hall Newsletter to sign up for it. It always, every Friday, gives you a plethora of information. We need to have your email address so we can be happy to send this to you. Next on the list is, and I know I'm like a broken record, but this is all critical. So if I'll lean forward a little bit. In Town Hall on the lower level, wait a minute, is this, let me hold it. Okay, thank you. In Town Hall on the lower level, there is a countertop, and we have all of this information there, and we're gonna now start bringing it to our Senior Voices meetings. We have the Ridgefield Senior Central Directory, which Joe mentioned earlier. We have our guide to the Ridgefield Senior Gold Card. This is an extensive list of all the participants, which are happy to sell you things at a discount. We have our Ridgefield alerts, and these are all things you can sign up for with your phone. Then we have, this is called 3 Easy Ways to Stay Informed, by text, by email, all important information for the safety of our Ridgefield folk. And this is one of my favorites. It's a 2-sided card, Medicare information, town elections and referendums, all important dates that are just going to come up, and you may need to know about it. Okay, so next month, June 11th, we are pleased to have with us Chief Jerry Myers from the Ridgefield Fire Department. He is going to speak about something near and dear, I hope, to everyone's heart. It's about safety in the home. And I anticipate that being a packed audience, and the information is just going to be so helpful. I had a meeting with him. Carmen and I went to a meeting this week already, and the amount of information that I got from him just in sitting with him, common sense, and he loves doing this. So he's very eager to talk to people and help us all out. So we'll have information going around, the usual flyers and press releases, and I urge all of you to mark your calendars to be here June 11th. Same time, 1 to 2:30. Here, yeah, it's always here.
Here.
Same that too.
Same time, same place. So we still have a little bit of water left. We have some refreshments and
I wanna
we have one
pass
more
it.
question, but yes, please stay in network because we have this room for a while and I want everybody to get their questions answered. Ma'am,
I found this very helpful and very current, and you know.
thank you.
Mentioning that the summit is ready to go. I wonder if you would seriously think about doing this, say, at 6-month intervals, so that, you know, because it's hard if you're not really connected to the real estate.
Anytime you want us.
Absolutely.
We love to talk, so.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't forget you. But I did forget. I'm so sorry. I got
No,
excited.
go, yeah.
But please
please.
tell me what you wanted to ask.
I did not want to ask, I wanted to tell Ms. Colette that the Ridgefield Housing, the director is with Warren and Ray in Ridgefield, and very knowledgeable about Ridgefield and what goes on. Hoy a ganar de session, 51 professionals.
Okay, cool.
During networking.
And excuse me, ladies, that's something, you know what? It's now network time, networking. Please get up, mingle, and go ask your questions of each other directly. And thank you very much to our panel from William Pitt Sotheby's. And I appreciate everyone coming today. I know I learned a lot and I hope you did too. Thank you.